try to blow your nose.
It's just gonna be my head all night now.
When the dust just gets too much.
Mucinex. Doesn't really work, but whatever.
Yeah, it doesn't rhyme with anything I just said.
It literally works with nothing. All right, cool. Here we go. Hello and welcome to the Kryptonaut Podcast. I'm Mark Storrs, and with me, as always, is
Crass
and
Rob Morphy.
Thank you for joining us. As always, the Soch Meds.
Wow,
Follow us.
you're such a hipster.
Insta.
Please.
Twitter.
No, no,
Fair.
fuck no. Done.
fair.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
Oh my God.
Yeah, no, we're there. We got social media presence. It's fun. It's cool. We're talking to everyone. It's a good time.
Yeah.
Be sure to leave ratings and reviews for this podcast on the iTunes and the Apple Podcast apps. It helps us out greatly.
I feel like it's by the rote now. You're getting this done. It's business as usual. I like this.
I'm trying to change it up a
It's
little bit.
sharp professionalism.
Yeah,
You're
totally.
a sharp-dressed man.
Unlike the rambling assholery that usually is the hallmark of us.
Yeah, no, we're tightening this ship up.
I did not realize. I would have liked. That would have been nice if we got that note because I am sloppy as the dills.
We have to get this ship together because we're heading towards episode 50.
I know.
Oh, man.
We're
I'm
also
super excited.
We're also heading towards our year mark. So
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
And it has
I
double
know.
anniversaries.
Exactly.
Got some fancy artwork I'm working
yeah.
on.
Oh, me and Chris got a little bit of a little sneak
Fancy.
peek. Pretty stoked for that.
Fancy.
So also too, yes, the ratings and reviews, new format change. We're doing the ratings and reviews after the outro music. So be sure to stick around because we have some fun doing those, and there may or may not be bloopers depending on how the recording goes. So always
yeah.
listen after the outro music.
There is always the possibility of bloopers.
There's a possibility, but not a guarantee.
No, but we're always going to fuck up during the recording.
And I might just stick them in the end if they're good enough. So this week we are going classic. I'm so excited about this. We're going classic crypto.
This is probably the most like vintage, famous cryptid we have ever done. I mean, we pride ourselves on doing a lot of really esoteric shit.
Yeah.
And I love it. And we all love it. But this is esoteric and yet at the same time, the stuff of legend.
Cool. All right. Well, I'm excited. You're excited. We're all excited. Let's get started with the Dover Demon. This now legendary creature first came into the public consciousness in the late 1970s, when over the course of just 24 hours, no less than 6 eyewitnesses claimed to have had encounters with this bizarre quasi-humanoid life form.
The living legend.
Yeah.
The Dover Demon.
Maybe dead now. We don't know. I don't know how long Dover demons live.
I don't think they have a long lifespan. Maybe they got like dog years or something.
Now, what are you basing this
Yeah.
on? At all?
Whimsy of Mark. This is
I'm
Mark's
basing it on
whimsy. I'm just like,
whimsy.
I
I
gotta
swear, the next time I give up any bullshit fact I have and someone's like, what are you basing it on? I'll be like, whimsy.
Exactly.
That was
It's just
beautiful.
about how you say it and how you connect with someone when you look deep in their eyes.
So you think the Dover demon's long
Shit.
gone?
Well, we'll get to it in the story, but yes, I do believe that whatever it was is no longer with us. Whether it may have left or maybe it's found a new home.
Fair enough.
There it is. Robert, take
All
it away.
right.
The extraordinary story of the Dover Demon begins on April 21st, 1977, when at approximately 10:30 p.m., a young man by the name of Billy Bartlett. Sorry, I think I said that wrong. Bartlett. Either way, that's a great comic book name.
yeah.
That is totally,
exactly.
I want him to be like, he's going to be
100%.
Shazam's kid brother.
Yeah.
Billy Bartlett. And he just does his shit.
Yeah, he just does whatever sweet shit.
he
Like
just shows up.
he's an ace scoop for the fucking local
Yeah,
paper.
totally.
Oh, I love that name. Along with 2 friends, Andy Brody and Mike Mazoka. Wow, just iconoclastic names across the board.
Yeah.
We're driving down Farm Street near Dover, Massachusetts. As the teenagers drove past a loose stone edifice known as the Farm Street Wall, Bartlett noticed some movement out of the corner of his eye. At first, he assumed that the motion was caused by a dog or some other indigenous animal like a raccoon, the legendary raccoons.
We always got to keep raccoons in the purview of cryptozoology because they are responsible for a lot.
Oh, especially coonigators.
Exactly.
But as his headlights bore down on the creature, he realized that it was like nothing he had ever seen. Bartlett would later describe this enigmatic entity. It was not a dog or a cat. It had no tail. It had an egg-shaped head. It looked like a baby's body with long arms and legs. It had a big head about the same size as the body. It was sort of melon-shaped. The color was the color of people in Sunday comics, which is perhaps one of my all-time favorite pigmentation descriptions.
Yeah.
Bizarre way to categorize
That's crazy.
color.
Yeah.
It is like that hot pinky orange
Yeah, so it's
of the average Caucasian Hager the Horrible.
yeah,
Oh, my
seriously,
God.
weird. What color was he? He's kind of like comic book guy looking thing, pink, peach,
Somewhere
orange.
between Dagwood and Beetle Bailey.
Dagwood.
Bartlett also stated that the creature had large orange eyes and a hairless body, and that the orange-tinted epidermis had a rough texture, which he compared to wet sandpaper.
Ooh,
It also had a distended stomach.
that's the worst part. Is the distended stomach.
So it's starving.
Because,
Yeah.
No, because that brings me like fucking feed the world.
That's what I
times,
mean,
like
so it's
sad,
starving.
Or maybe it
tragic.
drinks too much.
Or
Yeah.
it just could be its part. I mean, I don't know how close it is to the quad. I can't do a Boston accent here, but maybe he's just a little party animal.
He could be, yeah.
That's
Who
true.
knows? So he's got wet sandpaper. It's
gross,
a little too
yeah.
tangible a descriptor for me. But this orangey,
Yeah, what-
comic book style skin
I'm
color.
thinking like skin texture of like a hairless cat, where it's just like it's cute, but you don't want to touch it because you're afraid it's gonna like peel or something.
But the thing is, too, those hairless cats are pretty dope, I think.
Yeah,
but
no,
at
they
least
are.
it looks dry. When
Yeah.
you see
Yeah,
something
wet
like that and it's
sand-
wet,
It's grody.
it makes it. All right, so we got the distended stomach, the big goddamn melon head, the orange eyes, tendril-like fingers, long, spindly, like fucking Close Encounter of the Third Kind
Yeah.
arms,
Okay, weird.
with the horrible starvation beer belly.
All right.
He further elaborated that this animal, quote unquote, had large hands and feet, complete with elongated digits, which Bartlett claimed the creature used to grasp the loose rocks along the wall. Later, Bartlett drew a picture of the thing next to the wall and annotated the illustration with this quote: "I, Bill Bartlett, swear on a stack of Bibles that I saw this creature."
All right.
On a stack.
Stack,
Because
yeah.
when you swear on a single Bible, dubious.
Yeah.
You can get your way out of that. You
Yeah.
can trick Jesus. You're like, oh, you thought you had me. You were wrong. But when you've got 7 of them, and you're like, shit, I can't do
Yeah.
this 7
That's some
times.
gospel shit.
Yeah. All right. So he claims. Okay. So he's swearing on the stack of Bibles to the Lord above. That
The
he
other
saw it.
boys in the car did not see what he was seeing because obviously Bartlett was the driver, but they did attest later that his reaction and of shock and astonishment and fear and all that seemed very genuine to them. They just saw a quick motion.
Right.
As if this account weren't fascinating enough, just 2 hours later, and approximately 1 mile away, 15-year-old John Baxter, again, another classic
That's
comic
just
book name,
Johnny Baxter.
Jesus.
while walking down a lonely stretch of road en route home from his girlfriend's house, spotted what he described as a childlike figure moving toward him from down the street. When the figure spied Baxter, it apparently fled into the woods adjacent to the road. So Baxter's walking down the street, weird little spindly things walking up the street. They lock eyes, classic fucking spaghetti western style.
Right.
Little thing books into the woods.
All right. So what did Baxter do?
So I'm thinking if I see this, I'm going to flip out. But Baxter, he's a noble dude, and he has his own theory, and I'm about to get into it.
All right.
Baxter, fearing for the welfare of what he assumed was a tragically deformed neighborhood boy, and that's sad that this neighborhood has a little boy that's tragically deformed.
Yep.
Yep. I've heard some people say mentally challenged. It kind of goes back and forth, but
I mean,
thought
he has
it
good
was
intentions.
A neighborhood kid in need of help.
All right.
And he does what heroes do.
Check on the tragically deformed.
He
possible-
pursued the enigmatic being through the dense cluster of trees in hopes of helping it.
So he has good intentions.
Yeah.
Yes.
His heart's in the right place.
It's the local kid that's got some troubles, and you know what? He's just coming home from his
Right.
girlfriend's house,
All
but he's
right.
like, this kid does not get to be alone in the woods
Yeah.
at night.
No.
Not when fucking Johnny Baxter's on the scene.
Yeah. Good Heart Baxter. That's what they call
There you
him.
go. Good heart, Baxter. Yeah.
So he chased it through the dense cluster of trees, over a shallow brook, and across a field. I mean, think about this. Trees, brook, field. I mean, that's fucking
At what point I would be like, this
journey.
tragically deformed kid is fucking boss in the woods, and this kid can move. He might not be that tragically deformed.
Well, he might be, but he's fucking a wonder in the woods.
Yeah.
It wasn't long before Baxter lost sight of the figure and finally halted at the bank of a shallow gully to catch his breath. It was at that moment that Baxter's gaze fell across the gully and he was treated to his first clear view of the creature, which was purportedly leaning against a tree across the gap. Baxter later described the following harrowing moments. This is his quote. As I was looking really close there, I could see the eyes. It was looking at me. I just stared at it for another few minutes, and then I just got all these thoughts that maybe it was something really strange. 'Cause, you know, nothing ever happened to me like this before, so I didn't know what to think. That is a classic diarrhea of words that only a 15-year-old boy could come up with.
Yeah, and it's you can tell it's definitely genuine.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Baxter's curiosity swiftly gave way to thoughts of self-preservation. So I finally got the thought that maybe it wasn't as safe as it looked. Because the way it was staring at me, it just seemed like it was, I don't know, I got all these feelings that it was thinking to itself or waiting to spring or whatever, you know? So I backed up the bank kind of fast and my heart started beating really fast. That to me sounds like the paranoid soliloquy that you make when something that is weird and you can't identify is just standing there doing fucking nothing.
And then you're going through like a setup in your head, like, I know what it's thinking.
I know what it's thinking.
Yeah.
It's looking at me and it seems like it's cool, but is it looking at me because it's about to jump and eat my fucking face off?
Trying to size me the fuck up is what it's trying to do.
Also, Baxter might have been high as a kite because that sounds a lot.
He was like, you know, man, it was like there.
no,
Devil's
this
lettuce
would happen.
paranoid.
And I was here, man.
Like when I catch my cat late at night and it's just looking at me and I'm like, don't
you judge
don't
me.
judge me.
Right.
Yeah, you bring home
But
dead
this is across
animals.
a gully, right?
Yeah, a little gully.
Yeah.
I don't think it was like
Well.
a deep ravine or anything. I think it was.
But still, I mean, gully could be.
I don't know how big it was.
bleh.
Ever since I first read this story, I don't know how many years ago, I assumed about 6 to 10 feet at the
Yeah.
most. Just enough so that it's right there and you're right
So you can
there.
get a good glimpse of it. Yeah.
And he's just waiting for this fucking spindly limbed fucker to just leap on him.
Right.
Baxter sprinted from the gully in a blind panic and, to his eternal relief, was picked up by a couple driving by who ended up dropping him off at his home. As soon as he got inside, he drew a picture of what he'd seen, depicting an entity that was uncannily similar to the one that Bartlett, I don't know why I constantly went at a T,
Pears.
had described, including the thing's huge orange eyes. In the ensuing media circus, Baxter insisted that he had reported his encounter to the police without any prior knowledge of Bartlett's sighting. So that's important. All of these people take it right to the police. That the third and final encounter that the residents of Dover would have with this so-called demon occurred the following evening on April 22nd, 1977, when the thing was spotted by 15-year-old Abby Brabham and 18-year-old Will Tainter. They claimed that the creature, I know. I know.
I know.
I know.
Chris
Come on.
is shaking his head.
Just, come on.
Tainter.
We're fucking 14
We
in
are.
our
We're
hearts.
14-year-olds.
We're just the worst.
We're crushing down cookies and beers, and now we're laughing
Picking
about
on a poor
Tainter's
kid's goddamn last name.
Because you know, if you were in school, then you know what you would
Oh,
do.
he's fucking.
Come on.
He's Will Taints. I know.
Yeah, I know.
We all know that.
Willie Taints. Willie Taints.
We are children.
We are.
Continue.
They claimed that the creature in question was thin and sitting on all fours by the side of the road near the edge of a bridge. What is it about bridge and weird shit? Be it Loveland frogmen,
Yeah,
That's
man.
the
various
deal.
sundry trolls,
I don't hang out with fucking bridges, dude.
fucking goatmen.
Yeah.
Like all sorts of
Dude.
nefarious shit loves
Yeah.
a bridge. Is it the flowing water?
Yeah, it could
I actually
be.
think it does have something to do with water, doesn't it?
I think so. I think a
think
lot of
so.
sprites and ill shit seem to like moving
Yeah.
water.
Weird.
Brabham compared the beast to a bulbous-headed, hairless primate. And this is what she said. As I looked at it, it kind of looked a minute like an ape. And then I looked at the head, and the head was just very big. And it was a very weird head. And it had bright green eyes, and the eyes just glowed like. They were looking exactly at me.
So now we see it normally has orange eyes. Now they're saying it has green eyes.
Which makes me wonder, is this eye shine? Is this an issue?
From
Because
like light.
That's true. You
because
can-
animals, I mean, green and orange,
And
seem
orange
to
are
be
common,
the
yeah.
primary
Yeah.
colors that are reflected back.
Yeah,
All right.
absolutely.
Okay.
Almost all of the eyewitnesses were asked, separately of course, to sketch the creature which they had seen. The results were astounding to say the least. The only major discrepancy between Brabham and Tainter's accounts and those which were given the night before were the fact that Brabham had insisted that the creature's eyes were orange, or were not orange as previously described, but green, as we just said. Almost as soon as news of the event was reported, investigators Walter N. Webb, Ed Fogg, and Loren Coleman, the famed Loren Coleman,
Mr. Coleman,
who interviewed all of the primary eyewitnesses within a week of the event and has been credited with coining the name Dover Demon, descended on the region in order to collect as much evidence as possible. All three investigators came to the conclusion that this was anything but a hoax. After the 1977 incidents hit the newsstands, another eyewitness, Mark Sinat of Sherborne, Massachusetts, which is, Jesus Christ, pronouncing it, Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
Metastasizing.
Whoa.
Massachusetts.
That's a good one.
Safrapsiminus.
Sherborne, which is about 6 miles, I think, east of Dover. So anyway, Sennett came out insisting that he and his friends had actually been the first to see the Dover Demon 5 years before.
Oh, he's trying to jump on this train.
Yeah, he is. He's trying to say,
I saw it 5 years ago.
I ain't on the caboose. I'm a pioneer.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm the conductor of this bitch.
Yeah.
This is interesting, though. I don't know if there's any way to confirm this. I'm assuming that Loren Coleman and crew would have tried to if they could have. He claimed that they reported it to the local authorities at the time, which would have been 72, but that nothing came of it. Sinat testified that he and his friends were cruising on Springdale Avenue near Channing Pond in 1972 when they saw a strange creature in the forest. When Sinat was confronted by local media outlets, he seemed less sure of the creature's identity, stating, "I don't know if we really saw something. We thought we did. We saw a small figure deep in the woods, moving at the edge of the pond. We could see it moving in the headlights. We didn't know. It could have been an animal." Fucking phenomenal, Sinat.
Wow.
We saw something moving far in the woods.
Excellent.
No, but we saw it.
It could have been an animal. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe I didn't see. Shut up.
Yeah. Don't tell me what to do.
Yeah. You're my mom. You're my mom.
Needless to say,
Jesus.
Sinat's eyewitness account is not considered one of the
guy
hallmarks of this
jumps in.
case.
He jumps in with vim
My
and vigor.
God.
Like,
Yeah.
I saw this 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And they was like, well, actually, maybe we saw nothing.
An animal.
An animal. Could have been an animal.
In the woods.
Maybe not.
Oh, yeah.
night.
Or not.
Could have been a wraith. Oh, Chris's word.
Oh.
In what may be, I know, I love it when it turns to fucking car
Oh,
revving.
I love it. I love it. Formula One, bitch.
Fucking pole position.
Fucking do it.
In what may be a totally unrelated incident, Bartlett claimed that a year following his sighting, he was parked with his girlfriend in a remote area when he heard a thump on his car. When he turned, he says he spied a small figure leaving the scene. Although Bartlett would not speculate as to whether or not this was the return of the Dover Demon, he remains unsure of who or what banged on his car.
It was a year later.
Okay, well, that's just...
a year later.
You're parking with your
Just
best
a
girl.
random-
Your best girl.
Yeah, and then something jumps.
Bull Point.
Yeah, you're
clearly.
at Bull Point. So something jumps in the car. He hears the noise. He looks out and he sees like a little creature.
He sees a
running
little
away.
thing running, but clearly not as distinctly.
Yeah.
What blows my mind, I guess we're going to get to this in a second, but
Yeah.
with its fucking spindly ass little legs, how is this thing booking across gullies and glade and field?
Well, I
and-
was thinking that too.
And
That was,
heather and the moors.
yeah, tundras
Yeah,
and
seriously.
It's fucking pretty crazy.
savannas.
Yeah.
On October
Savannas.
29th, 2006,
Shit.
the Boston Sunday Globe published an interview with the then 46-year-old Bartlett. Fuck it, I'm just going to say his name wrong. Though often tormented by curiosity seekers, had not wavered in his conviction that he saw something inexplicable on Farm Street on that night way back in 1977, stating, "In a lot of ways, it's kind of embarrassing to me. I definitely saw something. It was definitely weird. I didn't make it up. Sometimes I wish I had. It's a thing that's been following me for years. Not the creature, the story. Sometimes I dread every Halloween getting calls about it. I have no idea what it was. I definitely know I saw something. I've always tried to guess what it was. I never had any idea." This was no prank. I wasn't trying to be funny. People who know me know I did not make this up.
Why is he then cause on Halloween?
Well, I suppose every Halloween,
Just-
local papers are like, "Oh, the guy that saw the demon." And
Yeah,
they do like
absolutely.
little redux stories.
Oh, okay.
Of
all
course,
right.
it's
I thought
part-
maybe it
that's
was
the
like,
season.
like I'm good. I got a lot of crank calls on Halloween.
Maybe
like,
it's
what-
some of that too, but I think it's probably more reporters.
Right, people just trying to get a hold of him to be like, oh hey, you want to have a show? Want to go check out things for this network?
Yeah, that,
You like that?
You're cutting a little close to the bone
Yeah,
on
you
that
like
one.
that? Yeah. Makes you a little angry, Rob. Makes you a little angry.
I like the fact that we're popular.
I do too.
Carl Sheridan, who was the chief of police during the Demon Flap and remembers all too well the media frenzy that surrounded it, claimed that people in the region are still not sure what to make of this unusual tale. And this is what he said. That thing has haunted me for 29 years. I knew the kids involved. They were good kids, pretty reliable kids. God only knows what they saw. I still don't know. Strange things have happened. The whole thing was unusual. It's interesting, though,
word
that
salad.
he said that he still basically had faith in them all these
everyone
years
is
later.
still on board. Of,
Like the folks in Falkville, they did not have such faith in their law enforcement.
Well,
white
but
eyewitnesses.
he may have had problems.
Coleman also noted that a large geologic outcropping in the woods off of Farm Street, which local historians refer to as the Polka Stone, might actually be a mispronunciation of puka, which is related to fairies and more dangerous creatures of Celtic folklore.
Oh, are we bringing
The wee folk?
The wee folk into this?
Coleman further claimed that the area in which the sightings occurred had a tradition of unexplained activity, including sightings of the devil himself on horseback.
The devil.
What?
The riding
dark
devil.
one, the dark one shows up on his steed.
Yes.
And he's just like, "Hey guys, it's me," and just keeps riding.
Yeah.
Have you seen my pet? His name is Milton. He's about yay high.
Maybe
Awful
it
orange.
is.
I like how his name's Milton. That's great.
Devil dog.
The devil on the horse.
Paradise Lost.
Oh.
In an interview with Critopia.us, a little website that we own, Coleman summed up the event. When I asked him basically what he thought it was all about.
And this is from your interview.
This is
with,
my interview
okay,
with
so
Loren
we'll
Coleman.
have the link in
many years ago. Many,
we're going to
many
have
years
the
ago.
link in the description of this podcast to Rob's interview with Mr. Loren Coleman.
It was, in all fairness, my first interview. Perhaps not my finest hour.
Check the show notes.
The short story is that over a 2-day period in April 1977, 4 people saw a small 4-foot-tall orange shark-skin creature, somewhat like Gollum in Lord of the Rings, in 3 separate sightings in Dover, Massachusetts, a rural location near Boston. The case goes down as unexplainable. I don't know the answer to what really happened, as all the eyewitnesses checked out and were found to be credible by law enforcement and the other people in Dover. We have a credible case over 25 hours by individuals who saw something. Nothing quite like the demon has been reportedly seen before or since. It doesn't really fit any place. It's extremely unique. It has no real connections to any other inexplicable phenomena. I think the Dover Demon's mystery lives on.
Oh, there you have it.
Clearly it does.
The
there we
Dover
have
Demon.
The short, sweet, and it's almost mind-boggling to me. It's actually as famous as it is. It's an awesome story.
Yeah.
And the actual drawings done by the eyewitnesses. I think Bartlett is a really good illustrator. I don't know. I think he may have even gone on to become a professional artist. He drew perhaps the most iconoclastic version of it.
Right.
But everyone did these things, and it is unique. But to me, the most interesting thing is why this mystery endures so prominently in the mind of cryptozoological fans.
Yeah.
All this many years later.
Not much happened.
Not really.
It's kind of there. People spot it on 3 different occasions. I mean, it's mistaken for a deformed neighborhood kid, then chased into a gully or whatever.
I mean, that's the most harrowing event.
Yeah.
When
And that's
Baxter
the-
chases it, through
That's
hill
what
and
he's mad-
dale.
yeah.
Yeah,
and
that's-
then has a face, but he still doesn't do anything. It doesn't
No,
hiss.
it just hangs
It doesn't
out.
growl. It doesn't attack.
It stands there, and he's like, I guess I'm booking.
Yeah, he has a
Yeah.
moment of bravery, and then he realizes, oh, I've made a bad choice here.
Yeah.
This thing's eyeing me and probably has ill intentions, even though it made no moves to show that.
No.
He just got scared.
It's a 15-year-old's mind racing.
Right, and
he's a good Samaritan. He goes out. He's trying to help a kid, and then he's sitting there like, "Oh, this is weird. I've never seen anything like it." And it's like, is he looking at me funny? Is he giving me the eye?
Yeah, wait a minute.
Is that a jumping face he's
Are we
making?
going to fight? Is this going to be a fight in the streets of Dover?
Is he going to throw hands in the gully of Dover?
Yeah. What are we going to do now?
No one wants a gully fight.
No, a gully fight. No one wins in a gully fight.
Yeah, everyone loses.
Yeah, it's reminiscent of the Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan Kenobi scene from Revenge of the Sith, where it's you have the high ground and I don't. Regardless. The neat thing too with this sighting that I always liked is the first time it's sighted is on a stone wall where. In even the drawing of it too, in the description, it's using its hands on the stones.
Yeah,
to like climb on this thing.
I mean, it could be a quadruped for all we know. Well, except for the fact that when it's running from, then again, when it was running from Baxter, it still could have been running on all fours.
Absolutely could have.
To me, it almost
that would explain speed.
It almost sounds like it is used like that it can stand up bipedally, but that it is using all fours to kind of like run, almost like because the arms and legs and the fingers too and the toes are described as being like long and like this long.
It's got like classic like ET style fingers.
Yeah,
super spindly fucking limbs.
Yeah,
which don't seem like they should be able to support its beer gut and giant fucking melon head, which the head is described. I mean, most of our listeners, I'm sure, have seen it or at least are Googling it now, but it almost looks like a peanut. Like it's compared to a melon, but it's like a round part at the bottom and a round part at the top and two big eyes, no obvious nose or mouth.
Yeah.
It's got that orange, rough, wet sandpaper shark skin, as Coleman calls it.
Now, interestingly enough, though, this kind of has similarities to like the classic gray.
You know, I would think so too, but it's funny. A lot of researchers, including one of the guys I was mentioning before, the web guy that went to investigate Coleman, he was the first to point out, he goes, it doesn't have any of the known patterns seen by ghosts, fairies, or UFO nauts, which I find to be odd because I agree with you in one sense. I mean, it does have some of the earmarks of
if you're just counting appendages...
I mean,
maybe
because some grays are described.
I mean, big head,
big head, spindly limbs, and weird. You know, like they have 3 fingers though, don't they? Aren't they allegedly have 3 fingers? The grays, or do they have 4?
I don't know.
I can't remember. I got to look up my alien anatomy book. It's currently in PDF on my iPad. So
fair enough.
Okay, fact.
Yeah. So it's kind of interesting that it has that.
I don't think it falls so conveniently into that.
No.
So an easy thing for people to assume is, of course, extraterrestrial. It's anomalous. It shouldn't be seen in that area. But by all accounts, no reports of UFOs anywhere in the area at that time.
The only thing that really is discovered there, and that's by Loren Coleman, is the Polka Stone.
The Polka Stone, which he said might be Puka,
right?
Which is a reference to Celtic fairy folk / sometimes lake monster.
So that's the only like thing that's there.
Well, yeah, that and the devil on his
but that's just his hypothesis.
Right.
Also,
that's just saying like, oh, hey, by the way,
right, and Satan on a horse.
Yeah, there's a fairy stone in the dark one. So there you go.
Well, what that would open up the possibility for is not extraterrestrial and not cryptozoological, but paranormal in origin.
Right.
Like maybe this is something from, you know, the Magonia or whatever, like the fairy world that manifested itself because of. I don't know. I mean, can traditions from the old world follow you to the new world? I know that one show, that God show.
Well,
there
American Gods was kind of
it flirts with that idea
to that, I guess. But
great.
Is that something that's accepted in people that believe in this kind of lore?
I have no idea.
I'm not sure. I mean, I suppose if some of these creatures exist partially fueled on the faith we have in them, then wherever the faith is, they might be able to manifest. But I don't know if anyone's really working under the assumption that this is a Celtic legendary creature that somehow is attached to the Puka
Probably
Polka
it doesn't seem that way.
But it's just he just threw it out there. I don't think that's Coleman's theory either.
No, but because there is no UFOs in the area, but there is this apparent fairy stone or whatever. Possibly. And it doesn't really fit a description of any other cryptid, honestly.
No, but apparently there is a fucking spate of motherfuckers that are just dead up sure it's a baby fucking moose.
Which is kind of cute.
I'm sure.
Googled baby mooses earlier, and they're goddamn adorable.
Does it look like a Dover demon?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
I mean, God,
okay,
no.
So
if it's
that is like the going skeptical opinion right now.
If it's like a hairless baby moose, minus the hooves, I guess.
Yeah, with its long
maybe
tendril hooves.
Maybe. I mean, I guess anything hairless, really, we could probably attempt to fit into this category, whether it's like a hairless bear or like a cub or something, or like a hairless raccoon or opossum. One of those.
Really?
The rare French opossum?
Yeah, it's the rare French possum, which is only spotted in Boston. Yeah, it comes from the Boston streets.
Okay, so it's a wet baby moose.
It could be a wet baby moose. But there's a ton of discussion about baby. What's plural for mooses? Meese. Baby.
The baby meese.
Yeah, no.
There's a lot of moose discussion with this.
I mean, it's funny when we started American Monsters, those many years ago.
Yeah.
Nary a word of the moose.
No. I think this is something that is somewhat new.
I'm skeptical about that simply because even if you don't know what it is,
doesn't really fit the description.
All these different groupings of eyewitnesses. Yeah, well, it doesn't have fucking fingers for one thing.
And the head.
No, it doesn't.
Like,
if someone just had elongated head and some kind of spindly
if it's like
looking
maybe like
legs,
a fetal,
like fingers and stuff.
Maybe if it's like a fetal moose, like a.
Yeah,
I mean,
a fetal moose.
It would have to.
An astral projected fetal moose.
That's exactly. It would have to be. It's like a premature moose or something.
With
like
you, man.
maybe, but
a premature moose.
I don't know. I mean, I'm sure because you could say, all right, it was seen at night, it was seen in the headlights, it was this, it was that.
You could
that.
honestly give me those for Bartlett, maybe the girl in Tainter, Brabham and Tainter, but. And these are driving by sightings. I could say, you might not be able to really discern digits.
Sure.
But Baxter, and when he's, across the gully and it's leaning bipedally against a tree, supporting itself on a tree, I mean, that just does not sound like vintage baby moose to me. Hooves up on the tree.
I don't know.
Vintage classic
Maybe it is.
baby moose. Well,
we need to talk to baby moose experts.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm sure we can get on Reddit and we can find a plethora of baby moose experts because I saw arguments happening there. So do with that what you will.
Google up a baby moose.
Certain times of the year they stand against trees.
I mean, also too. I mean, it was compared to a primate, and I've seen plenty of people throw around the idea that maybe this was possibly a primate in the area that got loose, which we've talked about before with the.
Well, that's because she said that too, right? Because her one account was it looked kind of like an ape.
Yeah, which we what was it the not Watertown the white devil thing
Copenhagen
devil that, like a kangaroo or whatever. So possibly maybe a primate.
If it was somehow a shaved ape, they have the gut. They could have.
They do have the gut.
They
do have the gut.
They can have kind of spindly arms.
They do.
I mean, it's not beyond the pale. I'd be more likely to think it was somehow a mangy ape.
What's funny is like these things are cute, but goddamn, these baby moose look uncomfortable, and they are cute, but they also look like something from like the Dark Crystal.
Yeah, that can't be really what they think.
I mean,
that looks like a baby
like.
fucking
moose.
moose.
It looks like a baby moose. Yeah,
that doesn't even look remotely like.
I guess maybe if it was like missing hair, possibly, but it doesn't really look like.
When you have to strain more to make the credible explanation work than the absurd one, then to me. Yeah, it's sort of something that's not worth entertaining.
Yeah. I mean, whatever. Baby moose aside, could have been a primate, possibly, but I'm just gonna stick with the, that it was just it's just some unknown, whether it be from some sort of like fairy creature or if it's just some weird cryptid or maybe even possibly an alien, even though there's no UFO sightings there. But I don't care. Because I do what I want.
So, I don't care.
I can't tell me. Invisible UFO. You don't know. You don't
but
know.
I mean, the thing that is interesting though is there's orange eyes first, and then some says green, which those are the classic eye shine things that exist in real life.
Exactly. Yeah. So, which would indicate we talked about this before. People don't have that, so it indicates some sort of animal. So yeah, I mean, baby moose is a hard sell.
It's a little bit of a hard sell.
Even like a raccoon, like I don't know if you could pull it off.
Things that don't have hair really look different than what they're supposed to.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a possibility.
Totally.
I mean, at least that has digits.
Right.
But it has a snout, too, and it does not have a big, giant peanut head.
Really,
yeah. Now,
and the weird thing is, too, there's not a tradition of these sightings. It doesn't go back any period of time. It doesn't go forward any period of time. It's 25 fucking hours in 1977.
Yeah. This thing's kind of adorable but terrifying, a hairless raccoon.
I could almost buy that.
I would buy
But
a hairless.
It's still a little too pudgy.
I would buy a hairless raccoon over a baby moose.
Yeah, but I think
calf.
that's way too small to be.
Now you see if it was like a hairless bear, possibly,
Yeah.
which is still, I mean,
But you'd think somebody,
Yeah, that's terrifying.
would come
I mean,
across
that's
a dead
really,
hairless
actually,
bear.
those are super creepy.
Yeah, I mean they can book, but those are pretty.
Yeah.
Those are bigger than what. Unless it was a smaller bear.
So it's a possibility that it could be an animal that for some reason didn't have hair
Right.
and that could go really fast and had
Right.
extraordinarily big eyes.
Or just a super maybe short hair, maybe.
Maybe.
Wet sandpaper texture, yeah, but it could be super. That wet look could just be hair. That sandpaper could just
Yeah,
be
it could
hair.
be, but regardless, super short to no hair.
All right,
Right.
so let's just table that for what it is.
Okay.
We entertain the possibility that it could be. I think we're all pretty dubious about the moose, but who the fuck knows?
They're adorable.
Yeah, they're cute.
Yeah.
So why is this happening in a place that Loren Coleman points out is a nexus for weird? Is that unrelated or is that the direct cause?
I don't know.
I mean, you almost kind of have to entertain that it is directly related to it because there is already a weird thing happening. Now, when you're telling me that it's Satan on his horse,
That's funny.
it's a little bit on the nose. Like, it's a little bit too standard. Where you're like, oh, yeah, no, it's clearly Satan on his steed. Like, there's got to be more to that. Like, is it like a headless horseman type situation or something? Or is it legitimately
Yeah.
Satan coming from hell and being like, I'm on my horse here?
Well, I think your standard ops demon on a horse is probably going to be misconstrued as
people are
Lucifer.
Are just going to give him the
If she demon
the
and
title.
horns, you're going to be like, oh, look, that's
Right,
clearly.
right.
When it could be
Devil on a horse.
But if they're-
could be Belial, could be anyone.
Ah, Beelzebub. That's right. It could be my favorite of all of them. Osmodeus.
Yeah.
Yep, I love him. So it could
That's-
it could be that there is a bunch of weird shit happening in the area. Maybe this thing just happens to come from that, whatever it is, whether it's the stone or whether it's just some weird supernatural vortex, possibly. I don't know. Something happened. I'm just pissing in the wind here, but
No, I
something
mean, that's
happened.
what choice do you have?
Yeah.
Like I say, to me, the biggest mystery is what I said earlier. Not so much what's going on, because really it's a bunch of nondescript shit with really interesting eyewitness accounts,
Right.
all reported to the police. A very good investigation that was done within a week of it happening. So it's kind of like this perfect storm of eyewitnesses that were supported by law enforcement, independent investigators who showed up in time to really do a thorough investigation at a time when the memory was still fresh,
Right.
drawings, and a very, very small window. All of that is what makes it so fascinating. But in reality, the most interesting thing about it is the fact that it is legend. Because, and I suppose the second most interesting thing about it is that it really doesn't fit into any convenient niche. Not cryptozoological, not
Right.
ufological, not paranormal necessarily. It's interesting that it happens in a place that was known to be a paranormal hotspot, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. UFOs can be invisible. That thing
Yeah.
has a lot of the trademark attributes of an alien.
I think really, I mean, maybe it's just a good marketing technique, but because it's called the Dover Demon, it's got a great ring to it.
Oh yeah, no,
Of course.
you got to
Yeah.
give Coleman points for that.
Totally. So if it's the Dover Demon, and when you actually read the story, you're like, oh, this does not really much happen to people saw. But I think maybe it just has that pop culture flair to it, where
Oh,
it's like, oh, it's the
absolutely.
fucking Dover Demon.
And plus, it
And
probably
everyone's stoked.
it got picked up by the wire services
Yeah, and everyone's
from the
like,
local
oh, they all
thing.
Yeah,
spotted
totally.
a demon, because of course it has to be a demon. But that's
It just
no
rolls.
thing.
If it was something else,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, no, it has
it
to
would
be.
have been like the Berwyn Beast. I mean, any
Right.
Yeah.
fucking
Right.
other name.
Although,
would
did
make-
you just
Dover
make up the Berwyn Beast?
bloat.
Yeah.
That's really good.
Thank you.
You should be doing this for a living.
I should just be going town to
You
town.
should just be like,
Let
here's
me
your
brand
monster.
Joe cryptid.
Yeah. This is what you got.
So yeah, and like you said too, it is kind of funny that the way this is all spotted. and
Because
just-
it's there. It's
Yeah,
on,
it's just- it happens.
I'm on a fence. I'm on a tree.
Yeah.
It's like, you know what? It's got, first off, it's got scoliosis or something. The motherfucker cannot hold itself up. Like, it's constantly in every drawing holding itself on a foreign object.
the one on the tree is kind of funny.
Yeah.
because it kind of has that thing like it's exhausted.
Yeah, like
it's
two arms.
It's just
And
like,
it-
God damn it.
In all
It's just
fairness, it had
tired.
been booking across meadow after meadow.
Yeah, this thing may have been running the entire time.
Yeah, so it was like, God damn it,
Let's
human.
just say that. Okay, let's just take whatever off. Let's just take reality and one off the table. And let's just say that for some reason this thing was some creature from some fairy type world, and it just happened to pop through this gate with this stone, or however that science works. I don't know how that happens.
I just love that you called it science.
Whatever it does.
Yeah.
This thing uses this stone to come through, and all of a sudden it is like, shit, what did I get myself into? You gotta figure this thing is like on this like stone thing walking. There's cars zipping by this thing. People with really
Like
fucking
the
bizarre
gravity
accents.
might be all fucked up. It's like, oh my God, I can barely hold myself up here.
Yeah,
These
and
limbs are not equipped for Earth gravity.
Or he's just thinking could just be super scared because it's like this is not what I am used to at all. And all of a sudden,
Yeah,
you
but
get sucked into this
then he
world.
booked. Then he
Oh, well,
completely
yeah, no,
booked and
he
jumped a gully.
Got the fuck out of there. Yeah.
And man, you probably wouldn't know what cars are, so you got these roaring beasts with bright shining eyes bearing down on you fucking constantly.
And then you happen just to come across one of these creatures these quote unquote humans that you've heard about, and the thing locks eyes with you, and you're like, fuck, and you try to get out of there.
You. You don't know that he's
Yeah.
trying to fucking help out a neighborhood kid. You think he wants to eat me. He wants to
Exactly.
do some nefarious human shit to me.
Now, again, I guess that's putting fairy science on the table. But whatever. I'm
No,
open to it.
That's,
It's
Hashtag fairy science.
hashtag
Yeah.
fairy science. Yeah, I don't know how that stuff works. Fairy science, how does that work? We can tie that into magnets, I think.
Honestly,
Oh my God.
that's as good a
There
theory
you
as you
go.
can have.
Yeah, really. Seriously.
It's no better. Cryptozoology, I think, is off the table. There is no hint of a legend of this. If it was a part of the fauna of the region, you'd know about it. There'd be
Right.
other sightings. There'd be other whatever. So at the very least, I think you can say that this is not even a very rare and unique version of the animals that maybe even be migrating through that area, because there's no other report of this kind of thing anywhere else for that matter, really.
Yeah.
You know, so is it like kind of a puckwudgie type thing or some weird,
I think about that.
preternatural thing? That actually makes more sense. Or an extraterrestrial.
Right.
I mean, you don't always get to see UFOs. Maybe it's just doing what fucking UFO nuts do and just
Shows up and just,
maybe he's got a fetish for rock walls and just seeing how sturdy they are.
He's all excited. Like, I hadn't seen one of these since 1943. God damn it, I love
He
these
likes
things.
bridges.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
could be. Maybe it was super hibernating thing.
Oh, look
So
at that.
maybe
Chris
it
with
is
the interesting theory.
Maybe it is a cryptid, and that was its first.
It's been hibernating.
Yeah.
And then it's turned to pop out.
Yeah, we were talking about that with the Thetis lake or Thetis, lake
Yep.
monster.
Yeah, with the super.
The idea that it might
super
be like one
hibernation.
of those super frogs or cicadas or whatever. Hang out, 17-year fucking cryptid.
Yeah, so
Well,
this
just looking wet and gross. It could very easily have been underground somewhere.
He could have come. I mean, he was seen
It
near a
is.
bridge.
Yeah.
Maybe
Gross, that's what I'm saying.
again aquatic. I mean, you can never
Of sorts,
completely
yeah.
take it off.
You just-
Something
yeah.
that's got weird spindly limbs and sort of a bulky torso and head. That's something you'd almost think would have to live in the water if it wants to function, because those aren't terrestrial functioning
No,
limbs.
that's not good for traversing the terrain of Earth, really. And you gotta be in the water.
That's why that motherfucker has to lean up against a tree and be like, dude,
Because his goddamn head's too big.
the fuck?
He's trying to keep that
Yeah.
big noggin up.
He's just trying to swim to Loveland.
Yeah,
He's just
exactly.
trying to get to Ohio.
Yeah, there you go.
Have the fucking cryptid conference underwater with fucking
There you go.
the Loveland frogmen and fucking
That's-
indescribable.
Oh, that's right. The indescribable. Yeah, totally describable Octoman, which you can get a T-shirt for at RT Public Shop.
Yes,
and
you can.
thank you to everyone who has bought that T-shirt and then sent us the pictures. We greatly appreciate it.
Absolutely.
I like Chris's idea about hibernating. That's kind of a cool theory. Because if it was for some reason kind of hanging out underground like that, who knows how? I mean, I don't. Again, like fairy science, I don't understand hibernation.
Unlike fairy science, you can Google that.
Yeah.
I mean, I
like
could,
that's
but I
totally
don't.
within your grasp. You know
there's-
that.
Okay, but there's more of a likely chance of me digging into fairy science and hibernation.
Yeah, I know
Because
that. I do know that.
hibernation doesn't necessarily affect me on a daily basis where fairy science could.
It really doesn't.
Oh, God.
It does
Really?
not.
Yeah, totally. I don't. What does hibernation do for me? Ever? Nothing. It
But
is
what
not
does
even
fairy
in the-
science do for you? What has it done for
And
you?
who knows exactly? It could be something totally new that we've never even experienced.
Oh my God. Hope springs eternal.
Exactly for fairy
wow.
science.
All right, so it's a dirt-loving fucking occasionally showing up cryptid.
Yep.
Something semi-aquatic that just ended up near fucking Dover, Massachusetts.
It's out of the water and has a big giant head and can't balance.
It's got a super invisible UFO and it's fucking, again, awkward in Earth's gravity, but can run for short bursts.
Yeah.
It might have that power.
or straight up fairy science.
Yeah.
And it is one of those things
Or
something
Lucifer's
else.
pet.
Or Lucifer's pet. Milton.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Milton.
we actually didn't bring up the demon. They're just straight up from hell demon.
It's true. Yeah, maybe Coleman had
Well,
an
that would be
inside
Lucifer's
route.
pet would be a demon.
Well, yeah, okay, yeah, true. No, it would
demon
be.
dog.
Yeah.
Or demon
It
crab
wasn't
dog.
particularly fucking insidious.
It didn't. Yeah, it didn't
No.
do anything real gnarly. It
No.
didn't attack. Like I said, like you said earlier, it didn't hiss at anybody.
No,
it
no
didn't.
Pointy tails
It's
or
kinda
horns.
Just
or
hanging out.
Kind of
cool
made the kid a
things.
little bit like uneasy, or the kid just like.
And the
I don't
kid
know about
actually
this.
made himself uneasy.
Yeah, the kid freaked himself out.
Yeah, it was totally
Yeah.
somebody freaking themselves out with good reason.
Right.
But I don't
So,
think
you know-
I don't think the Dover Demon was giving off aggressive vibes and he
Yeah.
was picking them up. I
Yeah.
think he was just sitting there looking at some weird shit and suddenly occurred to him, "Oh fuck. Where am I?
What am I
What's
doing?
going on?"
Yeah, I'm in the woods with this thing, and almost that guy has between us is a gully, and this thing can clearly move quicker than I can. So there you go.
Yeah.
In a battle, you're going to lose.
It's funny that they both stopped to rest in the same spot though.
It is kind of, yeah, like,
Like,
they're just both
like
running,
this thing just
yeah.
stopped and it's breathing. He just stops and it's like, look, like, oh.
God damn it!
Son of a bitch.
So we
now
meet
we're
again.
now we're
Yeah.
locked in Mortal Kombat. Son of a bitch. Here it is. All right, so
all right.
closing thoughts, guys. What do we think this is? We had
I
an
don't know.
entire list. Let's
I-
each get a pick.
Devil's pet.
Devil's Pet. I like it.
Jesus,
I respect it. I respect the Dark One. I
The
like your
fucking-
allegiance to him.
He was riding around
Welcome
on
on
his
Team
mighty
Dark
steed, walking Milton, and he
Fuck
got off
yeah.
the leash. And then soon after, the devil came and collected him.
Yeah, probably.
You know,
could've been.
rubbed his nose in it, took him home to hell.
Yeah, or he was just the devil was all bummed like, oh my god, I thought I lost you, and then he finally was like, I'm
Yeah.
never gonna leave
Could
you.
you
again,
imagine
I'm so
like
sorry."
Satan putting up flyers all around Dover?
He was like,
Have you
"Cheers,
seen it?"
guys. If you see Milton, let me know. He's real
Answers to
sketchy.
Milton.
He's not balanced well in Earth's gravity because Hell's gravity
Yeah.
is different.
He's not balanced.
Hell
well.
has
Yeah,
different
yeah.
gravity. Don't ask. All right, just don't worry about it. Hell probably has
It could
different
be.
gravity.
It just makes sense.
Yeah, totally, Chris.
Well, maybe.
What do you think?
Could be Satan's pet.
You guys both going Satan's Pet?
No, but it's I don't know.
All right.
I like my hibernating.
I like your
weirdo.
hibernating. Yeah,
It's a hibernating weirdo.
I like that because in my mind it's just like it's in the dirt. It's dug down so deep, and it's just in like some weird membranous like cocoon.
Okay,
and
it
it's
doesn't
just
have to be
like-
necessarily in the dirt. I mean, there could be there's tons of cave. I
No,
mean, it
it's
could
gotta
be in a
like,
thing.
It digs in like a frog. I don't know. Frogs do that. I don't know about
Some
hibernation.
frogs do that, yeah.
We talked
All right.
about this.
I know we've
Hibernation's
made
not
it
my
clear
thing.
that Mark
yeah.
doesn't know how.
So you think it's just the hole in the ground and just in a
They
weird
just dig in.
The key will
gross
be
placenta.
the second
Yeah.
sighting.
Yeah.
Because until we get a second sighting, we're not going to have any idea about
Yeah,
the
yeah.
hibernation patterns, whatever. It's just some shit.
Oh yeah, if this thing
Yeah,
happened
yeah,
to
you
wake
don't know.
up, and then it's like shit, I got to go back and hibernate again. And
I mean,
then
what a
however many
sucky
years
life
later,
you would have if you wake up for 25 hours every 67 years.
Yeah.
That would just be a
bummer.
horrible
Unless you
fucking
have a life
existence.
cycle of like 5,000 years, then
Yeah, that's true.
you don't know because you're sleeping.
Facts
So.
and
And you, I
science.
mean, you could be like well rested. You could wake up feeling like it's just amazing. You're like, that's the best sleep I've ever gotten. And then you just do your thing for 25 hours, and you're like, I'm tired. I'm going back into the dirt, and going to bed.
It's a possibility.
Yeah. All right. So you guys, you're gonna go demon pet. You're gonna go with hibernating
Weirdo.
Okay,
Okay.
hibernating weirdo. Okay,
Hibernating
cool.
weirdo.
You know, man, I'm gonna say I'm gonna use my evidence here, Mr. Coleman, of the poker rock, and I'm gonna go with hashtag fair science.
Yeah, fair science.
You know, it's just as valid as anything.
Exactly. So there you have it. That is our take on the super widely popular, but we're not quite sure why, Dover Demon.
Yeah.
It appeared, people saw it, things happened, and I think we gave this a lot more time than it needed.
Well,
but that's good.
It was a legend. It was
Yeah,
our first bona
totally.
fide legend.
Exactly.
And it's not like I got a
Beneficus.
hate on for the Dover Demon.
No, not
I
at
got a
all.
soft
He's
spot for that
classic.
Yeah.
bulbous-headed fucker.
He's classic.
But like everything else, I don't know why. I don't
Yeah,
even
I
know why
don't-
I like him.
No.
I don't get it either. He just looks cool.
But it helps when you have a lot of sightings close to each other. Like those stories are always the intriguing ones.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and plus it's corroborated too by police reports and everybody. So and there's more than it was like 26 hours this all happened in, right?
And he ended up in a Japanese video game in the 80s, I think.
Oh really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Oh cool.
So, that just sweetens the deal.
Yeah, totally. Maybe he'll be included in Fallout 76 coming out in November. I hear the Mothman and the Flatwoods monsters are going to be in that. Oh, so-
Really?
Yeah, so when you guys are like, when I'm like, guys, I can't pod. I'm like real deep into Fallout right now, but I'm going to fight the Mothman. Then you guys can
Maybe
give me a break on that.
Legit.
Yeah, just like my my Skyrim days. This is going to be a new thing. It's going to be back into Fallout because Fallout
All right.
4 was awesome. All right, cool. So there you have it. Thank you for joining us. As always, be sure to rate and review this podcast on the iTunes and the Apple Podcast app. Stick around after the outro music. We're going to do some reviews.
Yes, we are.
Be sure to follow us on the social medias, the Twitters, the Facebooks, the Instas. We're there.
Killing me.
Come by, say hi. Also, too, be sure to support the podcast by purchasing merchandise through RT Public Shop. We had a really great month this month. I want to thank everyone who purchased some merch. I see tons of people getting ready for fall, getting their fall gear out. They're getting their hooded sweatshirts. They're getting their long sleeves, buying stuff for the kids. I got my kids on our Instagram account pushing our merch. That's why I'm putting them to work.
Nice.
Dad's got to make money.
The value of $1.
Exactly. Get on there, wear the shirt, push the shirt to the people.
Baby Billy Mays.
T Public Shop. The link will be available in the description of this podcast. There you have it. And talking to you soon.
Oh.
Jeez, why?
The
What's
finger?
that?
You like
Yeah.
that?
No, I liked it.
The finger. I put the finger up. Talking to you soon.
Oh, that's the pulpit finger.
It
I
is.
don't
Well
like it at
done.
all.
Yeah. The devil.
The devil. The devil.
The devil. All right, cool. It is time for reviews. As always, thank you all for your reviews on the iTunes and the Apple Podcast apps. It helps us out. Keep those reviews coming, and we will talk about them and cover them and read them and react to them at the end of the podcast.
Abso-fucking-lutely.
First review here coming from new favorite podcast, 5 stars, Morris Arts. This podcast is super informative and entertaining. Imagine attending a top cryptid university where all the classes are taught by your fun, drunk friends. Love the podcast art as well. You should definitely judge a podcast by its cover. Well, thank you.
Absolutely.
Hell
Cryptid
yeah.
University.
Drunkard's view.
Yeah. Jesus.
There you go. We'd be great teachers.
Oh, Professor Stores. This review comes to us from Rachel Harwood. These guys are just the best.
Oh, shit.
Could not agree more.
Thanks.
Thanks, Rachel. I've always had an interest in weird offbeat topics, but had not really carried any interest in cryptids, aliens, or conspiracies until I stumbled upon this podcast. I found myself turning on the Cryptonaut podcast and laughing along with Mark, Chris, and Rob while I work on special effects projects or while I am playing Pokemon Go. Yes, people still play Pokemon Go.
Nice. Respect.
I even turn them on to feel less alone as I feed my tarantula/reptile collection. It's like I actually have some friends.
Well, that collection sounds terrifying, but again, respect.
But awesome.
Yeah, awesome.
Yes, you do. Jokes aside, because there was teary laughter there. I appreciate the sideways approach these 3 dorky dudes take when coming up with theories to explain what some of these creatures may or may not be. I also have a deep appreciation for the metal references. Us metalheads gotta stick together.
Nice.
42 out of 5 stars.
Oh my God.
Definitely recommend.
Wow.
Thank you, Rachel.
That's a lot.
Rachel, I love the math. I love the math on that one. It's great.
That
Awesome.
covers a lot
That
of
is
stars.
you know what that is? Fairy science.
That's hashtag fair science right there. Like listening to Friends, 5 stars from Jared George Art. Listening to these dudes talk and argue, sometimes argue the same points against each other, make me feel like a quiet friend just enjoying the company. They don't go in crazy one way or the other. I love how they don't go ancient aliens, but discuss the information, and after saying it's not diabetes, they end friends. Huge fan. Keep up the great work, amigos.
Fair enough.
That's great. Fantastic and fun, 5 stars from Rashay Lee. I love this podcast. I listen to it while I drive to and from work. I love how Mark, Chris, and Rob read through cryptic accounts and discuss them in detail. I found this podcast through Monsters Among Us. I have always loved a good cryptid tale. Thank you for the fantastic podcast.
Thank you for
You are
listening.
welcome.
Yeah, there you go. All right, Monsters Among Us. What up, Derek? What up, Addie? Thank y'all very much. Recently, Addie sent us a bottle of whiskey. Woo!
Hell yeah.
Whiskey. There you go. All right.
Wyoming.
A delight, 5 stars from Gazelle L444. I think I'm saying that right. My drive to school and work is much less boring now, and I actually look forward to being stuck in the rush hour traffic so I can listen longer.
Oh,
Nice.
Wicked.
Fresh podcast, 5 stars. Sale from LA, great podcast talking about diverse cases I have never heard of. Team has great chemistry. I look forward to new episodes every week. Keep up the great work. You have a loyal fan in me, Sal. Sal from LA, thank you very much.
Indeed.
It's kind of weird, actually. According to our numbers, we are more popular in LA than we are in New York.
We have a West Coast
That makes
vibe.
sense.
We have a super following over there in LA. So that's, well, not LA, but just the West Coast in general in California. So that's super cool. So there you have it. That is our reviews for the week. We want to thank everyone who sent the reviews in. It is super awesome. Keep those reviews coming in. Again, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, and as Rob reads them too, Facebook, if you can leave us a recommendation there. That is always appreciated. So there you have it.
Yeah.
And we'll be talking to you soon.
See you next week. Hey.
See you later.
Hey.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
It's been fun.
Fairy science.
Fairy science for life.
Bye.